Have you ever felt like your life was out of control? Like you're just drifting along with whatever life throws at you, never really in control of your own destiny? Have you ever found yourself constantly saying yes to everything, fearing that if you say no, people will stop asking you? Or maybe you're not able to articulate what's bothering you, so you find yourself swept up in the current, hoping you don't hit any rocks. I've been there too. And it's not until we learn how to navigate the sometimes choppy waters of our lives that we can start to reach our full potential. Just like a ship needs a rudder to steer it through the waves, we need a strong sense of self to navigate the ups and downs of life. But how do we find that inner strength when we are constantly bombarded with demands and expectations from the outside world? One of the most important lessons I learned from Carl Jung is that learning to say no is one of the most powerful ways to discover who we truly are. As Jungian analyst and author Murray Stein points out in his book, Jung on Active Imagination, Jung often spoke about the importance of accepting one's fate. But this doesn't mean passively giving in to whatever life throws at us. Rather, it means making conscious choices about how we respond to the challenges and opportunities that come our way. In other words, it's about learning to say yes to ourselves while also saying no to others. Jung believed that the process of self-discovery is a journey inward, a voyage into the depths of our psyche where we can encounter our shadow self, our deepest fears and desires, and ultimately come out the other side transformed. This journey is rarely easy, though. It requires courage, patience, and above all, a willingness to confront the darkness within ourselves. But the rewards of this journey are immeasurable. By understanding ourselves better, we can live more authentic, fulfilling lives that are true to who we are. So let's talk about why saying no to others is such a powerful tool for discovering ourselves. One of the biggest obstacles to self-discovery is the pressure to conform to the expectations of others. We're constantly bombarded with messages about who we should be, how we should behave, and what we should do with our lives. From our childhood, we're told to be a certain way to fit in with our peers, to excel in school, or to pursue certain career paths. These expectations can be incredibly limiting, preventing us from pursuing our own interests and passions. When we say yes to these external expectations, we're essentially giving away our power. We're allowing other people to dictate how we live our lives instead of following our own path. This can lead to a sense of resentment and dissatisfaction, feeling like we're living someone else's dream rather than our own. By saying no to these external pressures, we can start to reclaim our power. We can make space for our own interests and passions and start to explore who we are on our own terms. This doesn't mean that we should reject all forms of social convention. It simply means that we should be mindful of the expectations that are being placed upon us and make conscious choices about which ones we want to follow. Another obstacle to self-discovery is the fear of rejection. From a young age, we learn that rejection can be painful. When we're rejected by our peers, it can feel like a personal attack, and we may try to avoid it at all costs. This fear of rejection can carry over into adulthood, causing us to stay in relationships or situations that aren't right for us, simply because we are afraid of being alone or not being accepted. However, staying in these harmful relationships prevents us from growing and evolving into the people we were meant to be. Saying no allows us to break free from these toxic situations and pursue relationships that are based on mutual respect and understanding. It gives us the opportunity to meet new people, explore different perspectives, and learn more about ourselves in the process. While it can be scary to put ourselves out there and risk rejection, the potential rewards are simply too great to ignore. But why does saying no help us understand ourselves better? Jung believed that every no to something or someone leads us closer to a deeper understanding of ourselves. When we say no to something or someone, we're essentially setting a boundary. We're communicating that we have limits and that we won't be taken advantage of. This act of boundary setting helps us to define ourselves more clearly and communicate our needs and wants to the world around us. For example, imagine you're constantly being asked to take on more responsibilities at work, even though you're already feeling overwhelmed. By saying yes to these requests, you're essentially devaluing your own time and energy. However, by saying no, you're communicating that you have limits and that you won't be taken advantage of. This can lead to a greater sense of self-respect and self-awareness. Similarly, if you're in a relationship with someone who is constantly taking advantage of you, saying no can be a powerful way to reassert your worth. By setting boundaries and communicating your needs, you can create a healthier, more balanced dynamic in your relationships. Saying no is also an act of self-preservation. When we say yes to everything, we run the risk of burning out and losing sight of our own needs. However, when we say no to things that don't align with our values or priorities, we're investing our time and energy in the things that matter most to us. This can lead to a deeper sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in our lives. For example, if you're passionate about your work, but constantly being pulled in multiple directions, saying no to non-essential tasks can help you focus on the work that is most important to you. Similarly, if you value spending time with loved ones, but constantly feel like you letting work or other obligations take priority, saying no to those obligations can allow you to make space for the people who matter most. In short, saying no is a powerful act of self-discovery. It allows us to break free from the limitations of external expectations, overcome our fear of rejection, and set healthy boundaries in our relationships. It is an act of self-preservation that allows us to invest our time and energy in the things that matter most. By saying no to others, we can say yes to ourselves and the life we want to create. I hope this video has been helpful. If you enjoyed it, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic of saying no. Also, if you've learned something from this video or this channel, I would be very grateful if you could support my work. Every little bit helps me to continue creating content that I hope is both informative and inspiring. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.